Greetings. This is Likamish with your PSA announcement. Please, take care of your electronics. Let's get into the details. Now, you may say, where on earth have you been, Likamish? Alright, I've noticed that you haven't uploaded in months, and that is not including the fact that you re-uploaded that Seth video. Yeah, I saw you, I saw what you did. Where on earth were you all this time? That's what this PSA is all about. It's all about taking care of your stuff because I have a lesson to teach you all. So you see, this is my computer. It's a lovely little computer I got here, right? It has a nice beefy 4070 Ti with a good CPU, good motherboard, 32 gigs of RAM. I'll give you the list of the specs right here. It is a pretty good computer. But here's the problem with getting very good parts. They go very wrong when they break. And all of this started months ago, specifically around August. Oh yeah, we're going back that far. It's currently December right now, but it'll be January, and we're going all the way back to August. So in August, we had to do a pretty big move due to very bad landlord basically kicking us out of the house for no reason, even though we already planned to leave. So it shortened our move time or whatever. That's a whole story for later, right? But we moved all the way over here, and I would like to preface this: the middle of nowhere. So when you're in the middle of nowhere, you better hope that the land you are sitting on has the stuff that you need to survive, right? Water, probably some good electricity, Wi-Fi, because we're in the digital age, and well, this computer's my job, YouTube, and my actual job. Well, let's just say the land didn't have any of that. Didn't have running water, and it didn't have Wi-Fi. So, since we didn't have Wi-Fi, what was I going to do? Luckily, T-Mobile was the GOAT, because I got a 5G wireless modem a long time ago that I was using as my own internet. Because funny enough, our fiber internet became very inconsistent because they fucked up and added a new machine that we didn't need in it. Again, let's try to stay on topic here. Basically, our fiber fucking sucked all of a sudden, but T-Mobile came in clutch with their internet. And luckily, from the box, I was able to get a crumb of internet speed sitting on the land that we're currently at right now. But unfortunately, that crumb of speed isn't really good for my job. So we had to drive down around a mile's worth of dirt road every single time to go to a certain spot where the Wi-Fi box could pick up a better Wi-Fi signal. This is where the problems begin. So while driving up and down this road, you guys got to remember that I have a very old RV, 1992. And I bet you that suspension in this RV right now is also from 1992. So it was a very bumpy drive, a very bumpy experience. So my computer was just sitting there. I had it on. I was messing with stuff, editing videos, doing whatever. And then, boom, all the screens turned black. Which was weird because I was like, that's odd, but maybe my computer crashed, maybe it was a glitch, I don't know, I don't care. So I turned it back on, and it did it again, and I just waited till I got back home, turned it back on, and started running like normal. That was a sign that something was wrong. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. That is my audio input rapidly switching itself. But to make sure I don't reveal any personal information when it comes to work, I have to keep this zoomed in and only that small clip and not my whole screen. But yeah, my computer was screwed, and the issues didn't stop there. Remember that mic issue that you see on the screen? That made it so I couldn't record any more videos, is because when it was rapidly switching, it kept on saying my mic was disconnected. And then we had frame drops, we had hard freezing where everything would freeze. I had to force restart my computer, my screen's randomly going black. But when I start up the computer, the screens would not even turn on. Just more problem after problem after problem. And then came the breaking point. Sure, I had audio issues, but I eventually got that fixed by setting priorities for my job, and I couldn't fix the YouTubing thing, but I could just use my camera's mic for a while, right? It might be horrible, but it's something. I crashed on a game, and that game was peak. Peak! And you all know why it crashed? My friend decided to use an item. So yeah, my computer was absolutely screwed. So then I went ahead and took it to a repair shop. And I'm pretty sure that we just have to do a fresh install of Windows 11 and everything will be fine. I was so wrong. I was very wrong. There was actually a list that was wrong with my computer. So let's get into that list, shall we? First things first, my PCLE slot was bad. What is a PCLE slot? A PCLE slot is the slot that your GPU uses, your dedicated GPU, to plug into the motherboard so you can have your graphics. That slot was messed up. Remember that bumpy road I talked about earlier? Yep, due to the massive bumpiness in that road, it made the graphics card and the motherboard wiggle, making the slot broken. And the GPU wasn't having a proper connection. Wow. Okay. Oh, then there's something else. My CPU was apparently, how do I say this? Cooking itself for 3 years. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So the people who installed my cooler, by the way, one of my cooler fans stopped working, the little fans it came with. It stopped working, so it's only doing 2 fans, so it's a 3-fan cooler. So that's already not the best thing in the world. But the AIO cooler wasn't making proper contact to the CPU because the people who installed my AIO cooler installed it incorrectly. So they used, I forgot the exact jargon, but I believe it's called spacer washers, and they help get the CPU and the AIO cooler properly aligned with each other so they make full contact and your CPU gets cooled. Only one of those washers were correct. The other 3 was for an entirely different motherboard. So that means for 3 years since I've had that cooler, 3 years, my CPU has been cooking itself at 100 degrees Celsius. So that's a problem. So to basically say what is broken, the motherboard needs replacement. Oh, by the way, the motherboard was bent, but neither here or there. I had to replace anyways. The motherboard was broken. My CPU has been overheating consistently, which means it's starting to break. It's not broken yet, but it's going to break. And my cooler isn't that functional anymore anyways, because it's missing one of its fans. So that means that all of a sudden, a simple fix that I thought was going to be like, what, $100 just to pay them to fix it, turned into $800. Oh boy. So I was screwed, basically screwed out of work, and screwed out of my videos, and screwed out of any gaming that I can do. $800 I had to somehow conjure up with a lot of difficulty. And not only that, but the parts that was needed, so the new motherboard, a new CPU, and a new cooler, was going to take a whole week to get there. By the way, the computer was already there for a few days, so in total it took 2 weeks for my computer to be repaired. Because again, I live in the middle of nowhere, and the one city that's nearby, apparently I guess Amazon stuff isn't that readily available over there. So yeah, I basically learned a lesson. And I hope this gives you guys a bit of a perspective of what I'm basically trying to get at here. Make sure that you take care of your electronics. Please, get it checked every 6 months or every year. Because just imagine if I would have gotten this PC checked 6 months after the cooler got installed. Guess what happened? They would have told me the cooler isn't installed properly, and my CPU sure would have been killing itself for 6 whole months. But that's way better than 3 years. Imagine if I immediately got my computer checked out because those screens were going black and I started having all these weird issues, right? I found a certain time where I'm off of work that I could just go bring my computer in. And then I figured out my motherboard's bent, my PCLE slot's not functional, or it's functional, but it's not making proper contact with the GPU. Imagine if I would have gotten that done when I had the money, when I had the time, and when I chose to get it done. I wouldn't have to worry about what I'm stuck in now. Why is it taking me so long to post a new video? I missed out on 2 weeks of work. I'm working overtime just to make up all the money that I lost. The money I'm supposed to use to repair this RV, now gone. My momentum that I had when it came to making videos, all those projects I had on my computer before everything got wiped, all gone. Which is why that I want to state to you, beautiful guys and gals, please take care of your electronics. Please get them checked out by a professional. You may think that you can self-diagnose it and figure out the problem. Trust me, I tried that. I even replaced the RAM inside the thing, and it worked for a little bit before I died again. So I even tried self-diagnosing. And I am not the most computer savvy, but I know a decent amount about computers. But I'm not a professional. That's why you need to get these things checked. Same with like having a car, right? For example, if I would have gotten my RV properly checked out, maybe I would have learned that the steering there was a lot of play in the steering wheel that I could have gotten fixed. I could have learned that my carburetor is going out, causing the RV to be a fuel-hungry monster. And the money that I lost during the move, I probably would have saved hundreds of dollars if the carburetor was fixed, because then it wouldn't have burned through so much gas. There's consequences to these things, and there's consequences to not being prepared and consequences of not staying on top of things. And that's why I wanted to make this special PSA for you all. I know it's longer than a normal PSA, but I just want all of you to know. Please take care of your stuff. Because when it breaks and you're not ready for it, it can derail your life and cause a lot of problems to happen that you didn't see. This concludes your PSA announcement. See you all next time.